Watch this. When nothing is working, that's your cue not to quit, but to dig deeper. Every failure holds within it the seed of an equal or greater success. The man who refuses to give up is already halfway to victory. You're not being punished. You're being prepared. Stand firm, believe harder, and remember, persistence always breaks resistance. 1. Adversity is the test that reveals your true strength. 2. Every setback carries the blueprint of a greater comeback. 3. Persistence is the bridge between failure and fortune. 4. Your mindset in the struggle defines your outcome. 5. Faith backed by action turns defeat into destiny. When nothing seems to be working, when the walls are closing in, when every door feels locked tight and every effort you make seems to fall flat, that's not the end, that's the beginning. That's adversity standing tall before you, not to crush you, but to test you, to weigh your desire, and to measure your strength. You see, adversity doesn't come to break the man who is committed to his purpose, it comes to prove him. Life doesn't hand out gold without first checking if your hands are strong enough to carry it. That feeling of being stuck, that moment when all your ideas, dreams, and plans seem to unravel, is not a punishment. It's a challenge, a silent invitation asking, how bad do you want it? The man who sees adversity and runs will never know the power of his own spirit, but the man who stands in the face of it and says, I will not bend, that man is the one life respects. Because here's the truth, adversity is the great equalizer. It doesn't care where you're from, how much money you have, or who your parents were. It only wants to know one thing, will you fight or will you fold? Most people fold. Most people let the weight crush them, and they give up just inches from the finish line. But you, if you're listening to this, if you've reached that point where you're ready to throw in the towel, stop. Not because everything's fine, not because things are easy, but because this is the part of the journey where men are made. Adversity doesn't weaken you, it reveals your strength. It's in the sleepless nights, in the days filled with rejection, in the times when no one believes in you, not even yourself, that your character is forged. Your resilience isn't built when you're winning. It's built when you've lost everything and you keep showing up anyway. Everyone wants to succeed, but few are willing to suffer. Everyone wants to be on top, but only a handful will climb with bloody hands and aching bones. Why? Because pain terrifies people. Discomfort sends them running. But champions, real champions, have learned to befriend adversity. They've learned to see it as their teacher, their mirror, their forge, and that's the difference. The world doesn't give its rewards to the ones who complain when nothing works. It gives its treasures to the ones who persist until something does. You may feel like you're not moving. You may feel like your prayers are hitting the ceiling. You may think no one sees your effort and that your dreams are slipping through your fingers. But I promise you, the universe is watching. It sees every act of discipline, every ounce of grit, every time you resist quitting when it would have been easier to let go. The law of compensation is always working, even when it feels like it's not. For every action, there is an equal reaction. For every time you rise after being knocked down, you're building power, and power, once earned, never leaves you. The struggle you face today is strengthening the very muscles you'll use to carry your future. Don't resist adversity. Study it. Learn from it. Understand that it's shaping you into the kind of person who can handle the success you dream about. Because if success was handed to you without the struggle, you wouldn't be able to keep it. You wouldn't appreciate it. You wouldn't have the discipline to maintain it. Adversity teaches you how to protect what you've earned. It humbles you. It prepares you. It ensures that when you finally get what you've worked for, you'll be ready. So if nothing's working right now, that doesn't mean you're failing. It means you're learning, you're growing, you're evolving into someone who can no longer be denied. You may not see it today, but trust me, when you look back, This will be the chapter that mattered most. This will be the moment when everything changed, not because things got easier, but because you got stronger. And strength, true strength, is what separates the ones who only dream from the ones who do. So don't let adversity fool you into believing you're weak. Let it remind you that you're still in the game, you're still breathing, and as long as there's breath in your lungs, there's power in your spirit. Don't surrender to the storm, become the storm. Look adversity in the eye and say, you picked the wrong man to break. Because you're not here to be average, you're not here to run when it gets hard. You're here to rise, to conquer, to fulfill every ounce of potential that was placed in you from birth. The question isn't whether things are hard. The question is whether you're willing to stay in the fight long enough to win. Because the truth is, most people aren't defeated by the enemy. They're defeated by themselves. They lose the battle in their mind long before the real war begins. But you don't have to be one of them. You can choose to believe that adversity is your greatest opportunity. You can decide right now that you will not bow, you will not quit, and you will not settle for anything less than the life you were born to live. Let adversity find you unshakable. Let it discover that no matter how many times you fall, you will rise with greater force. That's how you win, not by waiting for life to get easier, but by becoming so powerful that no hardship can touch your spirit. The world belongs to those who can endure, and if you hold on, if you fight a little longer, if you believe just a little harder when everything says it's over, you will see something change, not outside, but inside. You'll feel that fire again, you'll hear that voice that says, keep going, and one day you'll realize that nothing was working back then because everything was working in you. Adversity wasn't your enemy, it was your awakening. And the man who's awakened, who's forged by fire, cannot be stopped. Keep standing, keep believing, because your breakthrough isn't coming. It's being built with every step you take through the storm. Every setback carries the blueprint of a greater comeback, and though it might not feel that way when life knocks the wind out of you, trust this, the pain you're experiencing now is not the end of your story, it's the very page where your greatest chapter begins. Too many people misinterpret failure, thinking it's a dead end when in truth, it's just a detour, a redirection towards something even greater than what they first imagined. You see, every great man who ever accomplished anything of significance had to walk through the fire of defeat, through moments when nothing made sense, when everything they worked for collapsed right before their eyes, and yet they didn't give in. They chose to believe, despite all odds, that something better was being built behind the scenes. Life, in its strange and mysterious way, often removes what you thought you needed in order to deliver what you truly require to fulfill your purpose. You might not see the entire picture now, but the blueprint is already laid out. That failure, that betrayal, that loss, that moment where you fell flat on your face, it wasn't random. It was a part of the design. It carved into your character something that success alone never could, humility, resilience, and vision, because the truth is, success without struggle has no weight, no meaning, and no foundation to stand on when the storms come again. But when you've fallen and you've found the strength to rise, you don't just get back up with wounds. You rise with wisdom. That's the blueprint. That's the hidden treasure buried within every setback you've faced. So when the world tells you it's over, when the door's shut, when the bank account is empty, when people walk away, when dreams crumble, don't see it as the end. Look deeper. Ask yourself, what is this trying to teach me? What strength is being built in me right now? Because there's always a lesson, always a seed of success planted in the soil of disappointment. The universe doesn't waste pain. It recycles it into power, into revelation, into momentum, but it only works if you keep moving, if you refuse to let defeat define you. Too often, people quit at the very moment they're being shaped for greatness. They don't realize that the breakdown is a setup for a breakthrough. They walk away too soon, never knowing that if they had just held on a little longer, the tide would have turned. You've got to believe that setbacks are not obstacles. They are springboards. They force you to reevaluate, to go deeper, to get clearer about what you really want. Sometimes life closes doors not to punish you, but to protect you from stepping into something that would have destroyed your spirit. And when you stop seeing setbacks as enemies and start seeing them as allies, everything changes. The moment you start asking, what's the comeback that's being prepared for me? Instead of why is this happening to me, you step into a new level of power. Because nothing is wasted when you're on a mission. That rejection might have hurt, but maybe it was pushing you toward a new path. That job you lost might have been the push you needed to start your own business. That person who walked away may have left to make room for someone who will love you better. It's all part of the greater comeback, but only if you don't give up. The secret is in your perspective. What you call failure today, you might one day call the best thing that ever happened to you. That's the gift of time, of distance, and of growth. So trust the process. Trust that there's a blueprint hidden beneath the rubble. You may not have the whole map, but you do have the next step, and that's enough. Take it, even if you're scared, even if you're tired, even if you've failed before. Take the step. Keep moving, because as long as you're in motion, you're giving life the opportunity to bring your comeback closer. And one day, you'll stand on the mountain you thought you'd never climb, and you'll look back and thank the storm, not because it was easy, but because it made you unshakable. You'll realize the setback didn't bury you, it planted you. And in that dark soil of uncertainty, your roots grew deep. So deep that no wind, no storm, no loss can ever uproot you again. You've become something stronger than the struggle. You've become the comeback. And that, my friend, is the mark of someone who refuses to be defeated. So wear your setbacks like armor. Use them as fuel. Let them remind you of what you've overcome and what you're still capable of. The comeback isn't coming. You are the comeback. And it all begins the moment you decide that the story isn't over, not yet. There's more to write, more to live, more to give. So wipe your tears, straighten your back, and go again. Not with fear, but with fire, because the blueprint is already yours, and the comeback is only a breath, a choice, a step away. Persistence is the bridge between failure and fortune, and until you truly grasp that, every challenge will feel like a wall instead of a doorway. Think about it. How many dreams have died not because they were impossible, but because someone gave up too soon? The man who keeps going, even when the odds are stacked against him, even when his plans fall apart, even when every voice around him whispers, "It's over," is the man who eventually sees those odds bow to his will. You see, persistence isn't about talent, luck, or timing. It's about the daily decision to show up, to try again, and to believe in your vision even when no one else does. Fortune doesn't chase the most gifted, it chases the most relentless. The world may hand you failure again and again, but if you keep pressing forward, if you keep pushing past the fatigue, the fear, the doubt, then failure becomes your training ground, not your tombstone. Every great achievement the world admires today stands on a foundation of failures, setbacks, rejections, and moments that nearly broke the spirit of the person behind it. But what kept them moving wasn't a guarantee of success. It was a refusal to quit. That's persistence. It's not glamorous. It's not always loud or exciting. Often, it's quiet. It's getting up at dawn when no one's watching. It's working when you're exhausted. It's choosing to try one more time, even when the last 10 tries brought nothing but silence. It's staring defeat in the face and saying, "You will not have me," because here's the raw truth. Most people give up just before things turn around. They stop digging when they're inches away from gold. They walk away from the field not knowing the seeds were just about to sprout. Why? Because they mistook delay for denial. They assumed that slow progress meant no progress, but persistence understands something deeper. It understands that the process takes time. The seed doesn't bloom the moment it's planted, the muscle doesn't grow the moment it's stretched, and fortune doesn't arrive the moment you wish for it. It arrives after you've proven you're worthy of carrying it. Life will test you to see if your desire is real. It'll ask, do you want this badly enough to endure the silence, the struggle, the sacrifice? And if your answer is yes, not just in words, but in action, then life opens the gates. That's how it works. You don't chase fortune. You become the kind of person fortune can't ignore, and you do that through persistence, day by day, step by step, without fanfare, without applause. You keep going. And something magical begins to happen. The wall that once looked immovable starts to crack. The dream that once felt distant begins to take shape. Opportunities appear where none existed before. People who once overlooked you start to take notice. Why? Because persistence shifts the energy around you. It tells the world you're serious. It tells life you're committed. It tells the universe that you won't stop until you've crossed the finish line. And that kind of energy, it moves things, it opens doors, it changes outcomes, but the catch is, you'll only see it if you stay long enough, if you outlast the discomfort, if you push through the boring, the hard, the lonely. Most of the battle isn't about skill, it's about staying power. The man who refuses to quit has already won half the war, and the rest, that comes with time, with effort, with faith. Even when nothing seems to be changing, something always is. Your mindset is shifting, your endurance is growing, your future is aligning, but you'll only see it if you don't give up. So when you feel like stopping, when you feel like it's useless, when it seems like nobody cares and nothing's happening, remember this: persistence is building something inside you that the world cannot take away. The muscles of discipline, the armor of resilience, the fire of self-belief. These aren't built in moments of ease. They're built in the grind, in the late nights, in the early mornings, in the quiet battles no one sees but you. That's the price of greatness, and the reward, it's not just the fortune, the recognition, or the success. It's knowing that you became the kind of person who could not be broken, that when the world pushed you to the edge, you didn't jump, you climbed. You held on, you rose, and that is worth more than gold. So let others quit. Let them call it impossible. Let them walk away when it gets hard. But you, if you've got a dream, a mission, a purpose, don't stop. Keep building the bridge, keep laying the bricks, even if the rain's pouring and the wind's howling, because one day you'll look back and see that every stone you laid in persistence became the path to your fortune. And when others ask how you did it, you'll smile, not because it was easy, but because you never let go. You knew that persistence wasn't just the key to success, it was success, and you earned it one determined step at a time. When everything around you seems to crumble, when the noise gets too loud, when doubt creeps in and darkness clouds your path, the one thing you must never lose is your vision, because that vision is the lighthouse that guides you through the storm. It's easy to believe when life is smooth, when people support you, when the money flows and success pats you on the back. But the real test, the one that separates those who merely dream from those who achieve, is holding on to your vision when nothing seems to work, when doors close, when silence replaces applause, and when failure whispers that it's time to give up. You see, vision isn't just about what you see with your eyes. It's about what you choose to believe in your heart even when your current reality shows no signs of progress. Vision is the seed that keeps hope alive in barren seasons. It's the internal movie that keeps playing in your soul long after the world has walked out of the theater. That vision of yours, no matter how battered or bruised, is the proof that your destiny still breathes. And you must protect it at all costs, because the world will try to steal it from you through discouragement, distraction, delay, and even disaster. But if you can keep your eyes fixed on that image, that dream, that calling, and let it burn brighter than the chaos surrounding you, then you're already halfway there. Every great accomplishment began as a vision someone refused to let go of. Edison saw light before the bulb worked. Ford saw cars before the road was ready. The Wright brothers saw flight before the wind obeyed. And you must see your success before the world believes it's possible. That's the power of vision. It allows you to live in the future while you work in the present. It creates a gravitational pull toward your destiny, and when that vision is clear, the how doesn't matter as much. Because vision pulls ideas, people, strategies, and breakthroughs toward you like a magnet. The more you believe in it, the more your mind begins to align your actions with that future. The more you speak it, the more your energy attracts what belongs to that vision. But lose that vision, and you're left drifting, reacting instead of creating, surviving instead of building. You've got to hold it so firmly that even when tears blur your sight, your inner eye still sees it with perfect clarity. And I promise you, the moment you get serious about your vision, life will test you. It'll hit you with delays and detours. It'll challenge your faith with silence. It'll make you question if the dream was ever real. That's not a sign to quit, it's the proving ground, because only those who can carry the vision through the valley deserve to stand with it on the mountain. The valley builds the character needed to handle the success you've envisioned. So when things don't look like your dream, remind yourself they're not supposed to not yet, but that doesn't mean the vision isn't real. It just means you're in the middle, and the middle is messy, but the vision. That's clean, that's precise, that's unwavering, and it's yours. You can't rent someone else's vision. You can't copy it from a book or borrow it from a mentor. True vision is born within you. It's sacred. It's personal, and it's the compass that keeps you from getting lost in the fog of doubt. You've got to feed it daily, speak life into it. Close your eyes and walk through it in your mind, taste it, touch it. Feel it, make it more real inside than what's happening outside, because reality will lie to you. It will tell you you're stuck, that you've failed, that nothing's changing, but your vision, it tells the truth. It whispers, keep going, keep building, keep believing, and when you live from that vision, you stop reacting and start creating. You stop settling and start shaping. You stop doubting and start declaring. And slowly but surely, the world around you begins to shift, not all at once, but enough to remind you that your vision wasn't crazy. It was confirmation of what could be if you didn't quit. So when you feel lost, return to your vision. When people walk away, return to your vision. When the money runs out, return to your vision. When your energy's low and hope is faint, return to your vision. Let it fuel you. Let it guide you. Let it remind you who you are and why you started. Because the moment you surrender that vision, you surrender your future. But if you hold it, protect it, and keep moving toward it, step by uncertain step, you'll wake up one day and realize you're standing inside the very dream that once only lived in your heart. And that, my friend, is a reward no amount of ease can ever replace. So keep your vision alive, feed it with faith, guard it from fear, speak it with fire, and watch as it shapes your destiny, one brave day at a time. When life shuts every door, when your back is against the wall, when the noise outside drowns out every ounce of encouragement, that's the moment to go inward, because within you lies a power that no failure, no rejection, no circumstance can ever take away. Most people never tap into it because they're too busy looking outward for answers, too distracted by the chaos, too broken by what didn't work. But listen, the most important breakthrough you'll ever experience doesn't start in the world around you. It starts in the world within you. There's a reservoir of strength, clarity, and fire buried deep inside, waiting for you to stop, get quiet, and reach for it. Going inward doesn't mean running away. It means reconnecting with your core, your source, your purpose. It means shutting out the noise and listening to that still small voice that reminds you who you are, why you started, and where you're going. The greatest inventors, leaders, thinkers, every one of them had to go inward before they could go upward. They had to wrestle with doubt, fear, and confusion in silence before the world could hear their victory. That silence, it's not empty, it's full of answers, but only for the man or woman willing to sit in it long enough to hear what their soul has been trying to say all along. When nothing is working outside, that's a signal to recalibrate your inside. Your thoughts, your emotions, your vision, your energy, they're all forming the reality you step into. And if they're not aligned with the outcome you desire, then no strategy, no opportunity, no shortcut will ever fix the root problem. Going inward is where real alignment begins. It's where you learn to trust yourself again. It's where you rebuild your confidence, not because the world says you're ready, but because you've decided to be ready. It's where your identity shifts, not based on what you've achieved, but based on who you're becoming. See, too many people wait for external validation before they believe in themselves. They need applause, a paycheck, a title, a like, a follower count to say, "I'm worthy." But true power is built in silence, in solitude, in the moments where there is no applause, no audience. Just you, your thoughts, and a decision to rise or to retreat. When you go inward, you begin to realize that your power was never outside of you. Not in someone else's opinion, not in some outcome, not in a lucky break. It was always in your ability to choose how you think, how you feel, how you respond, how you grow. That's what makes the difference between the man who folds under pressure and the one who flourishes through it. And here's the secret, the answers you've been chasing, how to succeed, how to get unstuck, how to bounce back. They're not hidden in some guru's words or a perfect moment. They're in the quiet clarity that comes when you finally stop running and start listening to your own soul. Go inward and you'll find the courage to keep moving forward. Go inward and you'll unlock creativity you didn't know you had. Go inward and you'll feel something reignite, a spark, a fire, a knowing that no failure can extinguish. Because from the inside, you start to understand that your worth isn't tied to what works or what fails. Your worth is in your being, not just your doing. And when you anchor yourself there, you become unshakable. You realize that setbacks aren't signs of defeat. They're invitations to go deeper, to grow stronger, to reconnect with what truly matters. So don't fear the silence. Don't fear the stillness. Don't fear being alone with your thoughts. That's where transformation begins. That's where resilience is born. That's where you stop reacting to life and start creating it from the inside out. And when you do that, when you emerge from that inner space, you bring a power with you that changes the way you walk, talk, and live. You stop chasing and start attracting. You stop doubting and start declaring. You stop surviving and start thriving. But it all starts within. When nothing is working, go within. When the world turns its back, go within. When your energy's low, when you've cried every tear, when you feel like giving up, go within, because that place, that quiet, sacred place, is where the breakthrough begins, and once you touch that power inside, nothing outside can ever break you again. So close your eyes, take a breath, and go there, not to escape, but to awaken, because everything you need to rise again, everything you need to create the life you dream of, everything you need to transform your reality is already within you, waiting, ready, powerful. All it takes is the courage to go inward and listen.